For my research and planning, I decided to look into the horror genre. I did this by breaking down shots from the Conjuring and Evil Dead trailers, as well as looking into their ancillary products. While conducting my research and planning, I looked into detail in the film's narratives, the mise-en-scène, which includes the costume, props, and locations. I also looked into the cinematography, which shows the shot types, angles, and durations, and I also looked into the genre as a whole, which includes different types of horrors and thrillers. Since then I have completed my products for my media package, and I am going to explain and show you how my products reflect professional ones due to my in-depth research and planning. When I began my research, the first thing I did was to watch lots of horror trailers in order to grasp the main themes in them. Once I got an idea of what were the usual events in a horror trailer, I began to come up with some of my own narrative ideas. I plotted these on a virtual timeline where I could see my narrative idea develop over time. My narrative of my rough cut trailer was similar to The Conjuring. The Conjuring portrayed their narrative by first of all giving a backstory to the trailer, which you can see on screen now.
I get my own room. Oh, you really? You're the young one. Oh, it's in the room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10. First clap.
Let me try with pleasure hands.
This backstory shows there is something lurking in the house which eventually takes over and possesses the residents in the house. This is a common narrative which is used widely across horror movies. This is because horror movies express people's worst fears in order for them to be scared at the film. I then used a similar narrative in my rough cut trailer. You can see this now on screen as I provide a backstory to the film, just as The Conjuring did. While researching into horror trailer narratives, I also did some extra research into representations within trailers and films. From this, it became evident to me that a scary, antagonistic young girl is a popular and typical representation for a horror film. This representation is shown in The Conjuring, and as this is a film I'm using as inspiration, I decided to follow this trait. Now you can see the representation in The Conjuring as well as my rough cut possession. As you can see, I've clearly used this representation trait in my horror film, although my trailer shows more of the antagonistic young girl than it does in The Conjuring. After my rough cut submission, I gained feedback from my audiences, and the main points were that the narrative was not clear. In light of this feedback, I reshot my trailer, making a few changes to the narrative. These changes were to bring the narrative into modern day life and to use more creepy and action-packed scenes. Now I've made these changes and my narrative of my new trailer is similar to The Woman in Black. The reason why they're similar is because The Woman in Black follows a narrative where there is a woman in the house who possesses anybody who lives there. In my trailer, it's similar in the sense that there is two twins who live in the house who possess anybody who lives there. Mise-en-scène is an essential part to any trailer or film. From my rough cut to my final cut, the mise-en-scène essentially stayed the same. Here in my final cut, you can see I've used a similar set to the one in The Woman in Black, which is an empty kind of old-fashioned house. On the professional film, you can see the set stays the same throughout the trailer, where in mine I bring up to date and into modern day life. I decided to do this as it develops and challenges the normal conventions of a horror trailer. Here you can see The Woman in Black uses various props, most of these being children's toys. You can also see here I have used similar props to my trailer. However, I decided to use dolls rather than animals in my trailer, as it portrays my actresses as being younger, which is what I wanted. Here I have challenged and developed another typical convention of a horror trailer, as this is not normally what would have been done. Usually a horror trailer decides to give a discordant props in comparison to its actresses. Costumes is another important aspect of mise-en-scène. Although you don't see much of the antagonist in the Woman in Black trailer, I know from seeing the full film itself that the antagonists were all black, hence the name The Woman in Black. I decided to use this typical convention of a horror film as it enables the audience to understand the antagonist is bad. It's not only The Woman in Black which uses this convention of the antagonist wearing black, various other films use this form too, which you can see on screen now. Again, this is another convention which I have used and developed in my horror trailer. Makeup is a very important part of the horror trailers, as often prosthetics and makeup is used to signify and show the goriness and the horrific part of the trailers and films. Makeup was a large part of my rough cut trailer, as it was in The Conjuring and The Evil Dead. For my rough cut trailer, I looked on YouTube and looked at quite a lot of tutorials. From this, I then went out and bought some horror and gory makeup and then produced my own type of makeup style. However, since I have changed my narrative slightly and as I am now following The Woman in Black, where makeup is not as significant, therefore my final cut trailer, I have not focused on makeup as much. I believe the soundtrack to any trailer is the most essential part. The soundtrack builds tension and reinforces the sense of fear in the audience.
I feel it breathing on me.
There's footsteps in, but there's no footsteps out.
Oh, God.
The soundtrack to The Woman in Black is more eerie and tension building than jumpy.
Bone-trembling chill that tells you she's there. There are those who believe the whole town is cursed, but the house in the marsh is by far the worst.
However, as the shots on screen are already rather scary and chilling, a eerie soundtrack works better. Where my final trailer needs a tension-filled and jumpy soundtrack, as my on-screen footage isn't instantly scaring, it needs that jumpy music to make it seem scary. Overall, I believe I have both challenged and developed many mise-en-scène conventions, which has been shown in professional products and in my own trailer. Cinematography is a large part of creating a film trailer. The shot types, angles, and durations are all essential to creating a professional product. Throughout The Woman in Black, there are various shot types. There are long shots, location shots, pan-ups, close-ups, over-the-shoulder shots,
Those who believe
and extreme close-ups. All of these are used for different purposes. Here you can see I have used similar shot types and angles in my trailer to The Woman in Black. I did this in order to create a similar product to the professional one. Horror trailers are notoriously known for their short, snappy shot durations. You can see this demonstrated on the professional trailer for The Woman in Black on screen now. Also at the top of the screen you can see my trailer, Possession, demonstrating this too.
what she once is unknown, but she always comes back. The spectre of darkness.
Another element of cinematography which is also just as important is the lighting. Often in horror films, low-key lighting is used for the majority of the time. This is used to install a sense of fear and the unknown. Sometimes high-key lighting is used to show the backstory and the narrative of the film. Here on screen you can see I have used and adapted the similar lighting to The Woman in Black. I have used majority low-key lighting, but at the beginning of the film I use high-key lighting to show the backstory. All in all, cinematography is a huge part to creating a successful trailer or film, as it is the on-screen visuals which can install the sense of fear in you. I myself have used and adapted many cinematography conventions in my trailer, as I have just demonstrated. Production company logos are used thoroughly on most film trailers, as well as intertitles and the BBFC black card. Here at the beginning of The Woman in Black, you can see the institutional information being used. You can also see I have used this information as I have created my own BBFC black card, which is the English equivalent to the green screen at the beginning of an American trailer. Next, the production company's logos are shown. Often these are animated just like they are on screen now. In order for my trailer to reflect professional products, I myself animated my production company's logos in After Effects, as you can see on screen now. Intertitles are another element which the majority of trailers use. Intertitles help tell the story to the audience as they can help portray information which may not be evident at first. The intertitles in my trailer help me tell the backstory to my narrative as this was one of the things I was struggling with on my rough cut. At the end of the trailer, the film's name is usually shown. This is usually animated just as the one on screen is now. I have again followed this convention and animated my film title on After Effects. At the end of the trailer, there is usually a screen with extra information about the film. This includes social networking sites and the official website for the film. Overall, my trailer presents the institutional information and elements throughout. I have used similar institutional information in my trailer, although I have adapted mine slightly as it is different to the one on The Woman in Black. There are many types of horror films such as horror thriller, psychological horror and gory horror. I did some extra research into these subgenres before beginning to create my products. Because I did this extra research, I believe I went in to create my products with a better and more in-depth knowledge into my overall horror genre. From this, I believe that my trailer truly reflects a paranormal horror. Some of the main reasons why I believe this is because my trailer showcases the typical representation of a female antagonistic ghost. The typical mise-en-scène of costumes, props, set, location and makeup have been used. These include the low-key lighting, the scary makeup and the eerie, desolate house. I have also used various fast-paced shots compiled together with a mixture of close-ups and location shots in order to create a sense of action. I have also portrayed a narrative which shows a haunted house and a possession which takes place. Overall, I think I have used conventions from The Woman in Black, such as the institutional information, the narrative and the genre type. I have also developed conventions from The Woman in Black, such as the narrative by bringing it up to date and into the modern day. I also think I have challenged conventions by taking on a different type of props and sound mix. All in all, I have used, developed and challenged conventions from the professional film The Woman in Black and used these in my own The Possession.